George Gilmore was born about 1810 and, according to oral histories, enslaved on the Montpelier property. The details of George's early life prior to his emancipation are largely unknown. He first appeared in documents after the Civil War. The 13th Amendment to the Constitution meant that George, his wife Polly, and their children were no longer enslaved, but it didn't mean life was easier. And one incident in particular brought home that although they were free, there were people in the community that would never see them as equals. In September 1865, George was asked by the head of the local Bureau of Freedmen, Refugees, and Abandoned Lands to deliver a letter to a landowner named William Scott. Subsequent sources state that the letter was, quote, for a child that William Scott had refused to give up. When George delivered the letter, Scott proceeded to beat George with a pistol and reportedly told him, "Let Captain Crandon see that he would not take any of his letters or any from any other Yankee." George made a complaint with the Bureau, but if William Scott was ever held responsible for his actions, it's not recorded in documents. Despite the accounts of violence towards African Americans living in the area, George Gilmore chose to build his home in Orange, Virginia, across the road from Montpelier. In 1867, the Freedmen's Bureau identified George as one of 6 members of the African American community in Orange that was of good character and a community leader. George was a 57-year-old literate saddler who rented a 16-acre parcel of land along with his wife, Polly, and their 4 surviving children, Philip, Jeremiah, William, and Mildred. Their other 3 children likely did not survive infancy. In the first years after the Civil War, George and Polly worked to build a home for their family from the remains of an abandoned Confederate winter encampment built by the Brigadier General Samuel McGowan's Brigade from South Carolina in 1863. This new home offered little in the way of comfort, but for the first time in their married lives, George and Polly lived under one roof. In 1870, George acquired some livestock and some household goods which he paid taxes on. He worked as a farm laborer, possibly for Francis Carson, the owner of Montpelier and George's former enslaver. Polly kept their home and was also engaged in needlework while caring for and educating the children. By 1873, George and Polly had enough money and resources to construct a second home just in front of the first. This cabin, which features 1 room downstairs and 2 rooms upstairs, could not have come at a better time. Around 1871, the Gilmores welcomed their 8th child to the family, Ida. In 1880, the house must have felt crowded, 7 people living in a 3-room house. But using this new home as a main living space gave the Gilmore family an opportunity to convert the back structure into a workshop or shed. George Gilmore finally purchased the property from James A. Madison in 1901. He was nearly 90 years old. He shared it with his wife, children, and grandchildren. When George Gilmore passed away on July 16, 1905, the local paper reported, "Mr. George Gilmore, an old and respected citizen of this county, died at his home near Montpelier."